Hi guys! So my name is Brooke and I'm one of the co-founders of Color Me Worthy. Um, some of you may have noticed recently that we have started something on our page called the Recovery Revolution. Now, I want to take some time to explain a little bit what we're trying to do with that. First of all, we're planning a couple of events coming up at some point in this year. We are not too sure on the exact dates yet. We do have one in Whitecourt happening on February 3rd, I believe, where I'm going to be sharing my story, and we're just going to do like a Q&A portion and just try to connect a little bit as a community and raise some funds, raise some awareness and some stigma. So that's the first part of what we're doing this year, is just events under the title of the Recovery Revolution. Also, one of the main reasons why we decided to call it this, the Recovery Revolution, as opposed to anything else, is because we think that language has so much power, and the language that we use to refer to mental health and addiction is really influential actually. And I think that, okay, now I have to preface this by saying that my opinion is my personal opinion, and it does not mean you need to believe the same thing that I do. There are a lot of people out there who believe something else, and that's perfectly fine. Whatever works for you. This is my own personal experience. But I find that when we label ourselves as mentally ill or an addict, both of which I've done, and also it's something that's kind of like forced upon us a lot of the time. Like, people are just like, oh, you're mentally ill, or like, you're an addict. I think that that's a really heavy statement. I think that that's a lot of weight to place on a person or to place on yourself. I also believe that we are so much more than those things, and therefore we need to focus on changing the language around those labels, because I don't believe I am a mentally ill person. I believe I am a person who has struggled with mental illness. I also believe that I am a person who is working towards becoming mentally well. That's another thing, focusing on wellness as opposed to illness. Yeah, we can acknowledge that the illness is there and it's a struggle and it's a constant battle, but at the same time, if we have to focus on wellness. If we are not focusing on wellness, we are focusing on illness. If you're not focusing on wellness, then you're focusing on being ill, and that's just, of course, then you're just going to perpetuate the cycle of mental illness or addiction. So that's one part of it. And also, when it comes to a struggle or an addiction, focusing more on the recovery aspect of it. Yeah, the addiction or the struggle, whatever it may be, is there. But we're also trying to focus on the recovery, because it's possible to recover from these things. It is possible to become well again. Even if it's something that you've been diagnosed with, that it's like a lifelong thing. Like, for me personally, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. That's supposed to be a lifelong illness, but really, there's a lot of tools that I've tapped into over the last year and a half that have allowed me to kind of overcome that on many occasions, where I am able to live my life, and the majority of the time, I genuinely feel like someone who does not have a mental illness. Even just using that term, it doesn't sit well with me, but I'm focusing on the diagnosis right now. I want to overcome these things, and it is possible. For me personally, going to the gym, sweating, is the best thing ever for my mental health. Focusing on my nutrition has been huge. Getting enough micronutrients, it's been proven. It battles the symptoms of mental health diagnosis. Going outside, being around people that love me, doing things that take my mind off of any struggle I'm having in the moment. Like, these are all things that help me overcome this and help me to become mentally well. I feel like it's kind of like a scale, like we fluctuate on it between illness and between wellness. And some days it's like, oh, we're more over on this side, we're struggling a little bit, and it's a little hard, but we're doing okay. And then there's days where you move a little bit more to the center and you're like, oh, I feel okay, could feel better, but it's also not the worst it's ever been. Other times we're on this side where it's just, we feel like someone who hasn't been diagnosed with anything. And that is being mentally well, working towards being mentally well. It's always going to be something that we have to work towards, and it sucks. I have a lot of times where I get angry and I'm like, man, like, why do I have to struggle with this? Why does this have to be something that I have to focus on all the time? But at the end of the day, there's nothing I can really do about the fact that it's there. All I can focus on is doing something about the side effects and the symptoms and trying my best to be full of joy as often as possible and to focus on wellness as often as possible. So that's one of the main focuses of all of this, is just trying to change and alter a little bit the language that we use around mental health and addiction. If you call yourself mentally ill all the time, there's a good chance that you'll end up feeling mentally ill all the time. If you start labeling yourself as an addict all the time, then you're going to end up feeling stuck in the cycle of being an addict all the time. If you're focusing on striving towards mental wellness or striving towards recovery, then that is what your focus will be on, and that is what will eventually in turn come to be. Some of you, like I already said, may not agree with me, and that's okay, but that's my personal perspective on all of this, and it is the background behind the recovery revolution. So yeah, I hope that can hit home for some of you guys. And also, I just want to say that in moving forward with this whole initiative, when I'm sharing my story, I plan on being unfiltered. I plan on telling the truth on every experience I've had. I don't plan on sugarcoating things, but I also don't plan on making this all about struggle. I want to focus on how I've managed to overcome these issues, how I managed to work on a daily basis towards overcoming these issues. And I want to focus on trying to connect with other people who have dealt with similar problems. 1 in 4 people will be diagnosed with a mental illness at some point in their life. That right there says it all. So many people struggle with these things, and barely anyone talks openly about it. And that is my purpose in doing this, is to talk openly about it and not filter myself. I really hope through all of this that I can help just one person. If I can help just one person, then I genuinely have done what I came here to do. If I could have one person come up to me and say, that really touched me, or I can really relate to some of the stuff that you talked about, that's enough. That's enough of a reason to do this. And I'm really, really looking forward to this year with you guys. I'm really looking forward to this year of expansion and recovery, of connecting with other people in this community, and hopefully building a bigger community from all of this. So yeah, also if any of you guys have any feedback or suggestions, please feel free to contact us. We're always more than happy to hear what people have to say. Because yeah, you guys matter to us, and you're kind of the whole reason we're doing this. So yeah, we're all ears, and I really look forward to seeing you guys in a next video, because this is something I'll be doing twice a week, every week. And yeah, I really look forward to doing this and having this opportunity to share a little bit of myself and share some inspiration, share some education, and we can just all try to create a recovery revolution together. Anyway, I hope you all have a great day. Bye.